Hello, this is Dice on Ice, playing Predation, a race against time in the land before time. I'll go ahead and introduce my players here, starting with Cameron. You can go ahead.
I'm Cameron. I'm going to be playing Ward Rose, who's a spiritual tech who fuses flesh and steel.
And who is your companion dinosaur?
My companion is Hephaestus. He's a clumsy ankylosaur.
Right, and then Karen.
I'm Karen Davies, and I'm going to play Europa, who is a sharp-eyed Terex who hunts with great skill, and her companion is Shadow, a clever raptor.
And for those who are unaware, Predation is a setting where time travelers got stranded in the past. The past of where great behemoths roamed the land, the Cretaceous era. Tyrannosaurus rexes and ankylosaurs and triceratopses and the whole shebang of dinosaurs. With them, they brought advanced technologies, DNA manipulation, cybernetics, robotics, even time travel, but their time travel machinery started to go into disrepair pretty soon after their colonization of the past. And that was all 200 years ago. The remnants of the commuters, as they were called, started to establish civilization, colonies, and essentially devolve from what they used to be like, in a future Earth society, to a weird hybrid of high-tech science and low, like Stone Age technology tribalism. With the imminent asteroid that the humans knew was on the horizon, they know it in their history books. It's in their DNA. Their ancestors are around because of this asteroid, this cataclysmic event that wiped out all life. And they're the ones on the other end of it, right before it happens. And so the people of the Cretaceous Earth flocked to these kind of bastions of technology and civilization known as, the SATI, headquarters. They're the corporation that originally sent people to the past. What little technology they have left, humans have flocked to. And that's where we start our players here. They are these competent SATI agents. However they've been hired or promoted to whatever jobs they are is up to them. But we begin in this wide courtyard from behind thick, shatterproof glass. Thousands upon thousands of eyes are watching this pinnacle event. In the center of this massive courtyard, you see the grass start swaying in the wind, is a long rocket. It's metal, rusted, with logos long faded to time and the elements. It looks like it's been cobbled together from various other machinery. Hot air is billowing out from the bottom, brushing the sweeping grass back and forth. This is a rocket, a missile, that's aimed directly at the asteroid. You can see as a pinprick of light in the sky above. As it starts to whir and the deafening sounds of the combustion reaction going inside its turbines and engine, what's going through both of your minds? We'll start with Cameron's character.
Well, if nothing else, this is pretty cool to watch. presumably we haven't seen technology of this type if ever, then not in a long time. I don't necessarily have a lot of faith that it will work, but it's at least interesting to see the attempt.
Europa.
Europa kind of feels the same way. She's not terribly confident that this is going to work, but she, deep down inside, she really hopes it does, because that pinprick of light is just going to get bigger and bigger, and it's terribly scary. And the consequences of this rocket not working is more than she wants to think about.
Yes, and as the metal frame of this missile, this rocket, kind of buckles back and forth in this hot air, this immense power building up inside, you hear over an intercom a loud, kind of crackly voice. T-minus 10, 9. The crowd starts to stir. People start whispering in hushed tones, and then as the numbers continue to count down, their voices silence. 6, 5, 4. It continues to count on. 2, 1, and then liftoff. And immediately the hands of metal holding this rocket in place kind of extend outwards, releasing it, and it just starts lifting off the ground, shaking at first. You can feel the glass just wobbling. You feel the ground shake beneath your feet, kind of knocked off your balance. This rocket starts vibrating, shaking back and forth as it rises higher and higher into the sky. 10 feet off the ground, 20 feet, 50 feet. But then it stops rising. It starts to glow red hot. And then, with almost no warning, it explodes above your heads, raining this metal shrapnel down to the courtyard below. There was silence from the crowd. That was 2 weeks ago. We fast forward this time. There's been many more attempts at these missile launches, each one more desperately cobbled together than the last. With each pressing day, there becomes a narrower and narrower margin. The scientists say that the impact this missile will have can even affect the course of this asteroid. Its trajectory so far maintaining the exact course that the model is predicted, the model that the historians of future Earth had predicted it take. We fast forward these 2 weeks, and this is the missile that's built with the last remaining fuel. It's a specific type of fuel, hydrazine. It's hard to synthesize, and the workers and researchers and miners and staff of this SATI, they ran out. This is the last batch. And again, we return to this courtyard, this circle of once green grass, now yellowed and blackened by the many, many attempts of a rocket thrust, now burnt, turned to ash, turned to soot by the hot air that has burnt away any life. This circle encased in glass, metal, stone, wood. And again, the intercom continues out. 10, 9. The glowing pinprick of light in the sky is no longer a pinprick. It's bigger than the sun at this point. It's the second sun in the sky, glowing red hot, white light. 7, 6. The crowd is uneasy. The people are praying to whatever they believe will to happen to them if this is to fail. They pray for whoever's in charge to make sure this missile fires correctly, launches properly. Then the intercom cuts out, and it's followed by this ring of explosions that start from one edge of the circle and follow around to the other side. The glass shatters, collapsing inwards. Parts of this viewing space collapse inwards. The ceiling collapsing. People running, dying, screaming and running for their life. What do you guys do?
Look for the nearest exit. Get away from the blast, the chaos that's happening here. Try to find a safe place.
In the cacophony of the deafening explosions, the bright flashes of light, of just flames billowing out from any kind of crack and orifice, you're able to see the entrance into which the people kind of came in to gather to see this monumentous moment. Unfortunately, it seems that in rank and file, these people garbed in feathers and paint markings and furs and piecework metal armor, in spears, javelins, bone axes, and such, are marching inwards, spreading out and just hacking down everyone in their path. How about Ward? What is Ward going to do?
I'm going to reach for Hephaestus, make sure he's somewhere nearby. Kind of pat his side a little bit, just in reassurance, because I'm sure he's freaked out from all the explosions and screaming and unexpected noise. And then I'm going to kind of put my back to his side and pull my sword out in case one of these maniacs tries to get anywhere near me or hurt Hephaestus.
Yeah, awesome. And these tribalistic maniacs, as you put them, continue to march in. This isn't a new thing to have happen. Lately, the past months, even the past few years, there's been this terrorist organization cropping up, gaining more traction. They call themselves the Butterflies. And these butterflies, who have thrown aside all technology and disdain for anything advanced, they just come in with their bone swords and axes and slashing at everyone, cutting them down, the screams, the wails of people. And yes, 3 of them, these butterflies, advance onto you, Ward, and your companion Hephaestus. Europa, you can see Hephaestus and Ward from a few meters away. I would like the both of you to roll an initiative roll, please, against these level 5 butterflies.
Ooh, no.
Okay,
Make
so
sure you're
Connor,
rolling for your companions too.
Okay, so new to this system. You have to explain to me. Okay, so initiative actions. I'm actually specialized in initiative. So I'm dropping the level by 2. Is that correct?
Yes, if you're specialized in initiative, you treat them as level 3 for the sake of initiative. Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So I need to hit a 9?
Yeah.
Okay, I rolled a 9.
All right. So Europa succeeded where Ward failed, correct?
Correct. Shadow
And
also failed.
Shadow failed?
Mhm.
How did Hephaestus do?
Failed.
Okay. Europa, you're the first to act. As these butterfly agents set their gaze and approach both of you in the smaller entryway. What is Europa going to do?
Europa's going to grab her crossbow and shoot one. One of the ones that are trying to attack Ward and Hephaestus.
Awesome, yeah, you raise your crossbow and fire it. You can make an attack roll with it. These butterflies are level 5.
So that's 15. So I'd like to spend effort on this one level of effort.
So now you're trying to beat a level 4?
Yeah. So that's going to take how many points of speed?
So normally it costs 3 points of speed.
Right.
But your armor makes it 4. But your edge puts it down to 2.
Okay. I rolled a 14.
And so yeah, you beat the 12. That's their target number as a level 4. And this crossbow launches from the bolt launches from a crossbow, hitting true at this butterfly. How much damage is that?
It'll be 5 points because I have Pierce.
Cool. And so you can. This bolt just punctures right in between, just right through this the fur and bone that this butterfly man has dressed himself with. The butterflies approach, throwing javelins at the 4 of you. Well, 3 of you, so I guess it'd be Ward, Hephaestus, and Europa. I'd like the 3 of you, please, to make speed defense rolls against level 5.
I failed.
As did I.
And Hephaestus failed.
And so each of you who failed, you take 5 points of might damage from one of these bone-tipped javelins, just getting you in some place that hurts.
And any armor we have is subtracted from that, correct?
Yes. Yes, you subtract. Yeah.
At 4 points?
Yeah, it's 5 points minus whatever armor you have.
5 points.
And these butterflies, after their volley of javelins, approach, cutting down civilians in their path with these axes, and are now within short, immediate distance of the 3 of you, of the 4 of you, essentially. The 2 humans, 2 dinosaurs. Which brings us to Ward.
Well, with these things as nasty as they are, he doesn't really want to close right into one of their faces. So he'll extend one of his arms, and some of the cybernetics he's got sort of adjust a little bit, and he'll fire a blast of energy at one of the nearest ones using Onslaught.
Yeah, awesome. Give me your your attack roll. It's an intellect attack roll against level 5.
I'm going to use a level of effort.
Cool. So level 4.
That one I finally managed to succeed.
Nice.
So it's 4 points of damage.
4 points of damage. As you go ahead and describe what this looks like as you just concuss this.
It's so he extends his right arm and a chunk of the cybernetics on it kind of pops out a little bit and it ejects this blast of like yellowish electrical energy that just spears across the room and smashes into this guy. Yeah,
and he starts to kind of, quiver and shake as he's electrocuted. Brings us to Shadow. What is Shadow doing?
Yes, I suppose Shadow's gonna try and stick with Europa and keep her as safe as she. What's Shadow?
Shadow's a he.
As he can. Is there somebody that's actually like in melee with her, or close enough at least?
Yes, definitely. There'd be one of these butterflies approaching Europa.
Okay, then the raptor's gonna at least try and slice at it.
Yeah, awesome.
But nope, not even close.
Yeah, and so this raptor just slinks out from behind Europa and goes to pounce on this butterfly, but the butterfly saw it coming and, was able to parry the claws, kind of blocking the claws from sinking to his flesh with this, bone and steel kind of pseudo shield on like bracers on his hand, just kind of just brush this raptor off. And how about Hephaestus, the ankylosaur?
Well, I think he would use his tail to swat at one of the closest guys by his companion there.
Yeah, so you attack the one that...
Nope.
You swing this wide arc of your tail, Hephaestus, but it was a little too far out of reach.
Hit the wall instead.
Running towards the exit is a higher-up commander of SATI, Commander Ben. What is Commander Ben going to do as in his flight, he encounters these butterfly agents pouring in from this into this facility?
I'm going to, on the back of Richard, dive bomb into the largest group of them and have him just try and distract as many of them as he can while I'm taking shots with my laser crossbow, if that's possible.
Yeah, awesome. You can give me a dive bomb attack for your pterosaur and an attack roll from your laser.
How do I roll the dive bomb attack?
It's just a d20 roll trying to beat a 15.
Okie doke. Didn't. Nope. Whoops. Messed up on that one. Haven't been in the field in a long enough time. So Richard doesn't get a darn thing, and then the same thing for the crossbow attack?
Yeah, trying to beat a level 5. Any training you have with it or might be able to reduce it, but I doubt it.
No, none of my training covers that. And wow, even worse than Richard. Wow. Ow. I cried. Wait, trying to beat a level 5. What does level 5 mean?
Target number 15.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, right. It's 3 times the level.
Yes. And so from the collapsed ceiling inwards, you can just see above this wide-winged pterosaur fly above and try to swoop down. But the hanging ceiling is in the way. He's not able to get in, bring its wings in tight enough, kind of just stuttering and landing on the edge of the ceiling that's collapsed. And Ben, this Commander Ben tries to aim, but there's something in the way. Boom, as the laser emitted from this crossbow, doesn't find this mark.
But we look stupendous doing.
You can see, yeah, exactly. You see his awards and higher up clothing. Europa, it is your turn.
Another crossbow. Well, have they all, am I surrounded now? Have they all kind of conglomerated?
So yeah, from the entryway, the butterfly agents have kind of poured in. I imagine it's like this, and then like this, like a circle.
Okay.
So they kind of poured in, starting to fan out into the complex. And so, there's many more butterfly agents kind of just whizzing by you guys. It's a pretty big facility, but there's only the three of them that are really engaged with you. And the one was approaching you menacingly and threateningly, but your raptor shadow intervened.
So can I still use my crossbow? Am I far enough away?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I will crossbow bolt one of the ones that are coming at us.
Yeah, awesome. So that's a level 5. Trying to beat a 15 here.
Right. I'll expend a level of effort.
Cool. Trying to beat a 12 now.
Yeah. So that's going to be... Oh, no, I didn't do it. Thanks for not being nice to us today. Did not do it. Missed. But I used up...
All right. As the butterfly agents, one is trying to get at you, a ward. The other one approaching Shadow and Europa. The third starts laying down these seemingly box things, kind of just like pushing them against the walls, and they seem to stick. And kind of pressing, kind of slant, hitting with his fist a few parts of it, and it kind of glows a little red light. And then kind of crouched, kind of turns attention upwards to the 6 of you now. The butterfly attacking Shadow kind of deflected him, throwing him off, and brings his axe up and tries to attack Shadow. So I need Shadow to make a speed defense, please.
Okay. Yeah. Natural 20.
Yay.
Natural 20?
Mm-hmm.
So you get to totally turn the tide of this little kerfuffle with your natural 20. How would you like to do so?
So I think Shadow, being so clever, is going to manage to shift backward and dodge out of the way of this axe blow, but leave his one leg extended so that as the butterfly, his momentum carries him forward just a little bit with his swing, he just trips right over Shadow's leg.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. As this butterfly trips, just crashes right into some shrapnel, some jagged stone and wood and glass, face first into the ground, taking a face full of damage. You can kind of hear him, with a blood-curdling scream as his throat got pierced by just this jagged blade of glass. The other butterfly agent is just kind of jump back from the sweeping tail of Hephaestus, but he's still a little shaken by the electrical attack that Ward just made. And he's going to try and take this opportunity as your gauntleted hand or your cybernetic hand recharges a bit to go in and just get you, Ward, with this axe. So I need you to make a speed defense as well.
Okay.
Against a level 5.
Yeah, I don't see this going well. No, definitely not.
Yeah, so this axe blade connects with you, just sundering a few parts of your cybernetic wires and gizmos, doing you 5 points of might damage.
Okay.
And Ward, it would be then your turn. This butterfly agent, his face covered in a kind of a wooden mask and paint, grease paint smeared, his hair kind of braided up, greasy, dreaded up with some feathers. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna try and get this guy off me. So again, I'm gonna use Onslaught just with the other arm since he's damaged the one. Just come swinging around with the other fist and try and connect that way instead. And
awesome.
I'll definitely use a level of effort.
Cool. Trying to beat a level 4 to 12.
I got a 14.
Nice. That is a connection. So as you just slam in with this another electrical attack from your other hand, 4 points of damage to this butterfly. As again, just this spasming of, I imagine like this rib cage, and just his whole like side of his body just starts spasming and twitching from this electricity.
Nice.
Shadow has just cunningly and cleverly tripped this butterfly and killing him in the process. What is Shadow going to do now?
He's just going to turn on the next closest one to Europa. And try
I
and
imagine
help her
that's
out.
the one that's crouched over that installed some kind of box-like contraption.
Yeah, sure. We'll just go after him then.
Yes, again, it's a level
Nope.
5 to get him.
I got a 13.
I will actually reduce it by 1 because he's kind of crouched and not battle ready.
Then it does connect because I did get a 13.
Awesome, yeah. So you're able to just come up and slash him with your claws.
Yeah, it's 2 points of damage.
All right. You just rake the back as he kind of just topples over, getting bittered down upon by this raptor. Hephaestus, your owner, your companion, human, is just getting, axe attacked by this scary-looking human. What would Hephaestus like to do?
Oh, Festus would like to club him with his tail. Nobody hurts my human. I rolled a 1.
All right, rolling a 1 is the opposite of a roll of a 20. In your clumsiness,
Yeah.
Hephaestus, I imagine that you instead just smash the whole foundation of the walls surrounding this area, collapsing a portion of ceiling onto both Hephaestus and Ward. Each of you taking 4 points of damage as just some shit falls on top of you.
Ouch.
Oh.
And I'd like the both of you, Hephaestus and Ward, to make a might defense roll, please, as you're struggling to support the weight of this stuff.
Rolled a 14.
I got an 11.
Yeah, so both of you collapse under the weight of this piecework of steel, wood, and tar building stuff. So you're kind of prone and pinned under the weight of this ceiling portion. It brings us to Captain Ben on his pterosaur steed, kind of perched above. I imagine this was the portion of ceiling that you were standing on. So as the ceiling collapses underway, maybe your pterosaur instinctively flopped upwards.
Yeah. Captain Stiller, seeing what's going on. We're SATI agents, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I am going to give Richard the command to give him the old razzle dazzle, and he's going to use look at me. And as he does the reflexive, catching himself flap, the scales on the underside of his wings, one of the unique things about him when he was, birthed is that he had these glittering, glorious wings. And so they catch the eyes of every butterfly agent there, making them squint and distracted for just a moment. And then I'm going to use encouragement on the rest of my team because it seems like they need it. I'm going to say, we're Saudi agents, guys. Come on, they're just a couple butterflies. Squash them. And that'll be that, which it modifies a task to their benefit while I am orating. So I am going... Hopefully that helps us.
Yeah, awesome. As you're kind of just flying above, gliding, just orating this to the people on the receiving end of these butterfly terrorists. Europa, this higher officer, is giving you words of encouragement and kind of, what do you want to do?
I want to crossbow bolt the guy who's planting whatever device that is. I want to stick him in the back.
So it's now a level 4 because of the captain's words of encouragement.
I'm going to still expend 1 level of effort to when I hit this guy.
Okay, cool. You're going to beat a 9 now.
I rolled a 9.
Yeah, so you succeed.
Oh, thank God.
Yay.
As this crossbow bolt comes in, and your aim is just impeccable so far. Pew, pew, pew. You've gotten these crossbow bolts off. And it just slams right into him in his kind of pseudo-prone form, just pinning his tattered clothing to whatever wall is behind him. As this, as shadows just like in his face. The butterfly that's in melee with Ward and Hephaestus is we're still recovering from the blast of electricity you smacked him with. But he's going to try and just attack you with a smaller blade on his still functional side. Just going in. So Ward, you have to make a level 3 speed defense task.
Speed defense this time?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm going.
Oh, sorry, I guess level 4 because you're prone, you're pinned. So yeah, level 4.
So I'm going to spend the 3 points for effort so that
Cool.
I can make it 3.
Yeah.
And I got a 16.
Yeah, so you're able to maneuver yourself in such a way. I imagine like the rubble is kind of covering over you, somewhat shielding you, as he's just trying to get in through the small cracks. Perhaps his blade isn't even long enough, as you kind of just scuttle back a little bit, realizing that most of this weight is supported by Hephaestus, as he's a bit taller than your crouched form.
Right.
The other butterfly pinned to the wall by the crossbow bolts and just a face full of raptor he's gonna wet himself as this raptor just bears down on him. And he's gonna try and, again with these smaller blades, just try and go for the neck of the raptor, just in this panicked frenzy. And so I'd like the raptor to make a level 3 speed defense, please.
Okay. 18.
Yes, so the limited mobility of this butterfly makes Shadow handily able to get out of the way and make the attack not do much. Ward, you're trapped underneath this rubble, kind of scuttled back away from this smaller bone dagger. What are you gonna do?
Well, I think I'd like to try and get out. I don't like feeling helpless under here.
Yeah. I consider that a level 4 might task to just move some rubble out of the way.
Okay. I'll give it a shot.
Would it be 3 because of encouragement?
3 because of encouragement. You're correct, yes.
Okay.
So trying to beat a 9.
11.
Yeah, so 11 the words of Commander Ben, Commander Stiller, echo in your mind and just get you encouraged to remove this rubble.
Remember, you are an
And
agent of Sati.
You're now free from the rubble. What is Shadow gonna do?
Shadow's just gonna press his advantage.
Yeah, awesome. So prone form, the encouragement, and the dazzling of the pterosaur above makes it a level 2 task.
Let's see. I got an 8.
Yeah, so it's another success. And you can describe to me how Shadow finishes off this butterfly agent.
I think he's just going to try and make it as quick as he can, so he can get back over to Europa in case anybody else comes that way. So he's just going to slice right at his neck. You know, that big claw, just lift the back leg up and swipe right across. And then pretty much immediately turn and head back.
Awesome.
That's a good dino.
Yeah, this butterfly, just blood gurgles from his mouth and from his neck as he's trying to speak and cry out, but he can't, as he just passes out from this big tear through his jugular and his neck. Hephaestus is trapped underneath pounds upon pounds of rubble from the ceiling that he collapsed just a few moments ago with a clumsy tail swing. What's he going to try and do? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, he's going to try and kind of shake all the stuff off of him, you know, kind of get out of this mess, and, you know, he's feeling really bad about what he just did.
Yeah, so I'm going to make it a level 3 task as well.
12.
So, again, with your big, brawny dinosaur form, you're just shake off, you know, your shell a bit. It just kind of falls off to either side, freeing you. Captain Stiller continues to kind of glide around on this pterosaur.
All right. I'm gonna have Richard swoop down and allow me to get on the ground with my agents. The entire time, I want him to continue to just vibrate his wings, making a violent but impressive display, terrifying and enthralling the people that we're fighting against. I'm going to shoot my crossbow bolt at the agent who was harassing Hephaestus and what was the other guy?
Ward.
While I'm doing this, I'm going to say, Shadow really butterflied that guy's neck, because Captain Stiller must make terrible puns. It hurts me to say it, honestly. All right. What am I rolling against? Difficulty of what?
So I would say that it's a 4 task because of the dazzling of the pterosaur.
Okay, it's a 4?
Yeah. So trying to beat a 20.
Okie doke. I got a 19.
Nice. So your laser crossbow finds a point, a very vulnerable point. I imagine like the back of the head of this this butterfly agent, doing an additional 3 points of damage on top of whatever it normally does.
Give me a second. I think it does 4 damage, 7 damage.
So 7 whole damage, yeah. So yeah, that's the thing with a 19. If you roll a 19 on an attack roll, you get 3 more damage on your.
No idea. Roll. That's awesome.
Bam. Just you can tell me how Captain Stiller is able to dispatch this butterfly agent with this laser crossbow.
As Stiller hops off of Richard, makes his terrible pun, he whips the crossbow out from behind his back, lifts it up, fires it like it's not even a problem, continues walking forward, puts the crossbow on his back, takes out his sword, and he's going to engage in melee in the next round.
And as he just makes this glorious landing, there's this moment of peace between the three of you as all three of these butterfly agents lie dead on the ground. One impaled by a glass skewer, the other just almost decapitated by the clever raptor Shadow. The other just killed by a laser bolt from Captain Stiller as he lands. This tranquility, kind of the eye of the storm at this point. Captain Stiller, what's going on? Like, what are you thinking about now that this last-ditch attempt at sending this missile, launching it, careening it through the sky to deflect the asteroid headed towards Earth, that's going to destroy all life as we know it. What's going on as this event has been sabotaged by these waves upon waves of butterfly agents?
Captain Ben's always in the heart of danger. He's always trying to make himself laugh so he can overcome it, but he doesn't know how to make this situation funny. That's a situation he hasn't come across very often in his life. And so he just sits there thinking for a minute, and he goes, shit. Any ideas? And he's going to look to the other agents. Everybody's muted.
Yeah, so this captain lands and makes this speech towards the two of you. How do the both of you react to this?
Kind of dumbfounded. Are they still? Are the butterfly agents still pouring? Or butterfly? The butterfly still pouring in through the door?
They are no longer pouring in. What looks like the extent of them, of the mobile, infantry forces, have already spread out through the facility. Down the few chambers and staircases and escalators, elevators that have been set up in this grander building. Out the descending down the stairs, you can see the entryway, and you can still see the moving of shadows and just a whole bunch of cacophony going on outside as well.
Has the rocket been completely disabled?
Yes, the rocket did not launch.
Okay. I look. Do we know the exact reason why? Or okay. So the first thing I'm gonna do. Okay. We need to move now. We need to go to the rocket. We need to make sure that everything is in place for it to launch, and if it not, we need to make sure that it gets up in the air, no matter the cost. Let's go.
I want to see what that is. And Ward points at the that box that the butterfly attached to the wall.
I look over to it and I go, so would I. And I'm going to try and see what that is. Oh. Well, it appears to be a clock of some sort.
So I apologize. I meant to set this up a little bit earlier. Out of game. This timer represents how long it's going to take for the asteroid in the sky to hit the Earth.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so you guys have 2 real-world hours to stop this asteroid from extinguishing all life as you know it.
Okay, so I'm going to make a check on the box on the wall to figure out what that is, because now we're...
Yeah, as you kind of just look at it, you can easily see rudimentary cables. It's definitely an explosive of some kind.
And it was meant to breach the door that it was on, right?
Yes.
Do I know where this door leads?
This door leads... it's one of the many doors that leads to the rocket research and development laboratories.
Do I have the clearance to get inside of that door without anything extra?
Normally, yes. However, there might be some fail safes going on right now to
Okey-doke.
prevent
If
any
that's
doors
the
from being
case,
opened.
I'm going to stick a thermite grenade, and I say, everybody, let's just back up from the door for a second. I'm going to shoot my thermite grenade so that the door blasts open.
And
'Cause we need to get in there.
how do the two of you respond to this captain just barking orders?
I'm used to taking orders from captains, so I do exactly what he says and call my companion as well.
I feel similarly, but at the same time, there is already a bomb on the door, correct?
That's what it looks like, yeah.
And so he's now attaching a different bomb next to the first bomb?
Well, we don't know how to activate that bomb.
Well, I would like to see if I can figure out how to shut it off. I have the ability to basically hook myself into a device and figure out how it works.
Yeah, so you can totally easily try to figure out what this thing is.
Okay.
It actually isn't very computerized. It's just, a very simple computer ticker attached to, a simple rudimentary explosive.
Okay.
And you could totally either, turn it off or, cause it to detonate right away. Routine for you.
Do we want to just cause it? I mean, if we're trying to get through this door, do we just want to use this to do it and save yours for later?
Sure, that would work too. Okay. I just didn't know how to activate this bomb, and if you know how to do it, set it for 20 seconds and then run the hell away from it.
So what do I need to roll? I'm trained in technology, and I have interface, which comes from my focus, allows me to identify and learn to operate a device as though the task were one level lower.
Yeah, so I would say that this is routine for you, requires no roll.
Okay.
To interface with this very crude mechanism. And so what would you like? You're just going to try and have it explode long enough for you, or right, with enough of a delay for you to get out of the way?
Yeah. Just
awesome.
like he said, just switch it so that it's got, a 20-second or so timer so that the rest of us can get back out of the way.
Awesome. Yeah. So you just boop, boop, boop. You kind of just readjust the little, calculator-sized computer that's in it. You kind of press in the 20 seconds and move out, giving it considerable distance, and you kind of wait patiently, and then a little of just plain old generic explosion just blasts a hole, knocking this door off of its kind of maglock hinges, and just sending it flying into the room that it once was barricading. The room is a small room that contains just a simple elevator.
Is the elevator big enough for all of us?
Absolutely. Well, sorry. I guess not the dinosaurs.
Crap.
Maybe Shadow could squeeze in, but
all right. If that's the case, I'm gonna turn to what's the agent's name who has Hephaestus?
Ward. That's me.
Ward. I think it would be best if Hephaestus held this hall. I mean, he takes up most of it anyway, so it would be hard to get past him.
Sure enough.
And Richard, you can support him from the skies. Hop on up, buddy. And then I'm going to say, Shadow can come with us. He's small enough, you can just carry him down with us. But we need to get moving.
And this elevator, you're able to get it repowered. It was in a kind of an emergency lockdown state, but Ward, you're able to easily bypass this mechanism with your training, with your cybernetic implants.
Mm-hmm.
You just boop, 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 and whoosh, the elevator doors open and reveals a rickety wooden kind of apparatus that's just completely disjointed appearance from this higher tech door. His kind of the meshing of the sticks and stuff as its walls, and kind of a simple rope lever, a simple rope kind of pulley, along with kind of like a lever to control it.
As we're going down in the elevator, I'm gonna pop a few sunflower seeds in my mouth and just like chew them wholesale. Because I'm nervous, and this is for like the first time Ben's had anything to be nervous about in a while, and I'm gonna go. So, someone give me a sit rep. Exactly what happened? I was out patrolling when this all started.
We honestly didn't see much more than you did. I don't think we were in the viewing area, waiting to see if this would actually work this time, and all of a sudden the door blew open and all these butterflies started pouring in and just causing all sorts of havoc. There were a bunch of detonations that started everything. I think that's what caused everybody to freak out and scatter the way they did.
Okay, odds are everything just went into lockdown. If we can get everything started up again, we might be able to restart the launch. But actually, I look around. Is there somewhere where Ward can interface with the base?
There would be kind of a crude radio apparatus from within the elevator, kind of just jury-rigged into place.
I look toward and I say, see if you can get anything off of there. Look for any information pertaining to the reason as to why the rocket may not have gone off.
Sure. I'll step over to it immediately, and I'm assuming it's not terribly complex. I can figure out how to use it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll hold the talk button. We're here. There's several of us agents heading down to the, what did you say it was, the R&D room?
Yeah. The rocket R&D room.
If there's anybody else out there, let us know. We could use any other information.
You'd hear radio silence and then a copy. And this is panicked voice on the other side of this intercom. It's grainy, it's fuzzy, but it would say, "We're trapped. We're trapped in R&D." This is the voice not of any kind of higher up person, but you recognize this voice as a certain doctor, scientist, researcher, who goes by the name of Reese Wilson, Dr. Wilson.
I'll say
he explains how he is trapped in the small kind of storage closet of the lab. He was in there when everything just went into lockdown, and he's currently trapped.
Over the intercom, I would say, Dr. Wilson, is that you?
Yes, it's Dr. Wilson. I'm trapped. There's
I understand.
Thousands of butterflies on the other side. I can't get out.
Don't worry. I need you to do me a favor. Keep the doors locked, but I need you to turn the computers back on and do whatever you can to find out how to start that rocket sequence. Do you understand? We don't have a lot of time. We're coming.
I'm afraid I can't do that. I'm afraid I can't do it from this side.
Okay.
All I have around here, crates and a mop.
Well, you might want to break that mop and make it sharper just in case, but we'll be down there in a minute just to help you out, all right?
And he kind of, shakily says, "Copy that." And you hear the snapping of wood, and then the sound of the signal stopping from his end. And finally, this crude elevator hits the bottom. It's descended a few dozen feet now, slowly, but it finally comes to a rest.
I pat Ward on the shoulder and I say, "Thank you, son." And I open the door for the two agents.
Yeah, the elevator oak door. You can just pull it aside. Is this rickety kind of chain link door, and into it you can see this laboratory of just basically computers set up with their holographic screens. There's beakers. There's miniature gizmos and physics whatnots, like little thruster engines and stuff. Various parts scattered across the room on tables. But the thing that catches your eye, how everything seems to be like just destroyed, ripped apart, as if someone kind of broke in through, cabinets onto the ground in search of something. Papers kind of litter the floor. The maglock doors that once would seal this laboratory closed have kind of just been busted apart by some kind of explosive, similar to what has happened upstairs that you did. But this chamber seems to be empty of people. There's a few doors leading out of it. What is Europa going to do?
Europa has her crossbow ready and ready to go off if she sees anybody. She's going to carefully go in to the room and would like to make a check around the room and see if she can figure out where anyone has gone. She's looking for
as
anybody.
your eyes scan, you can give me a perception check as you kind of like look around. It'd be just an intellect task.
Okay, I'm trained with perception, but I rolled a 5.
Rolled a 5 at trained. This room is very evidently devoid of people. You don't see any movement. You don't hear any sounds of breathing, of scuffling. It's just very quiet, besides the 4 of you who've entered.
You said there was other doors out of this room?
Yeah, there's 3 doors. 2 on one wall, 1 on the wall across from you. The one across from you is, again, this maglock-style door. It has not been blown apart, however.
Okay.
There's one on there's the 2 on the right. One of them is a maglock door that's been blown apart, where you can see the 2, or the kind of the one portion of the door that's come into the room, as in has been blown apart from that side, from the far side of the room and blown in. And the 3rd door is intact, but looks like there's a bunch of scratch marks and dents in it, as if someone took a rudimentary, axe or something and tried to just hack at it to no avail.
Does that look like it could be the storage closet?
Perhaps.
Do we know where the door that is not that hasn't been damaged, do we know where it leads?
That would lead to another section of the complex. Probably I don't think that Europa's ever been down here. She doesn't have the clearance to do so.
Okay.
Would I know?
Yeah, you would know that it'd be probably the lavatory area.
Okay. And we know that. Wait, no, he's not in the lavatory. He's in the cleaning
closet.
The broom closet. Okay. Would I know where the broom closet is?
Have you spent much time down here, Captain Ben, in these past 2 weeks, where everyone and their dog has been worrying about building rockets to divert the asteroid headed towards the Earth?
I probably would have spent a fair amount of time here. Sadly, Captain Stilla does not have any family, except for Richard.
And so I'd say that you could hazard a guess that it's that there must be someone here, and he's probably not in the bathroom. So just by process of elimination, that must be the
other door.
Yeah.
So yeah, I go to the other door and I go, Dr. Wilson,
and you hear a very from the other side. obviously just muffled by the thick layers of metal that separate you two.
All right, I'm gonna need you to back up from the door. I don't know if he heard me. And then I just I put my grenade on the door, and let's see. Anyway, I can make sure he hears me. Is there anything mechanical on the wall that you can interface with Warren, just to make sure that the doctor's away from the door?
Well, I imagine I could at least go back and try the intercom attached to the elevator again.
Yes, you totally could.
Okay.
Maybe the doctor can just open the door from the inside, because it sounds like he maybe have locked it himself. Well, I'm not sure.
Oh, I thought he couldn't open the door. I really want to blow stuff up. What's wrong with me? All right.
In the meantime, Richard and Hephaestus have been standing watch above the elevator. They're seeing just the murder and destruction of the entire facility, including kind of these butterfly agents start to hone in and kind of center in on into the courtyard at the rocket device itself. But they're so far held back by other armed SATI agents with, ballistics. They're the lighting of, bullets, suppressive fire at least holding them back for the time being. And Ward, you're trying to use the intercom again?
Yeah, I'm just gonna run back over to the elevator and grab that. What was the scientist's name again?
Dr. Wilson.
Dr. Wilson, can you hear me?
Yeah, copy that. Is that you on the other side?
Yeah, that's us. How big is the closet that you're in?
I can. He kind of pauses. I can touch both sides of the walls with my hands. Barely big enough for me.
Okay, then that would mean blowing it up would be a bad idea. Okay, well, hold on a minute. We're gonna try and get you out. No, I don't say that over the intercom. I'm gonna kind of mumble that back over my shoulder to you, and then turn back to it again.
The grenade's already on there. I'm setting the timer. I'm like, oh.
Is there anything actually blocking the door that we can see? Are there crates or anything piled up against it or something?
No. The door seems to be basically intact and unobscured. The only thing marring it is just this dents and hatchet marks that have been trying to, perhaps hacked into it to get access to its inner workings, or at least pry it apart. But it looks pretty dang normal.
Okay, can I see if I can interface with it and just open it?
Yes, you could totally try. There's a few panels throughout the room, one of which probably corresponds to the room's doors. However, everything here is on emergency lockdown, where everything's powered down. So I'd say this probably be a level 2 task for you with all of your gizmos and abilities.
Okay.
Oh, that's not terrible.
You can use it's an intellect task if you want to use effort.
Yeah, I might as well. I've got 2 edge in that, so
well, I can afford. Don't worry. I talk you through it. I use good advice, and it lets him proceed. And he already has training on it, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't do anything extra, would I?
I'd say, I don't know how the ability is worded, but I'd say that he can bump up his training to a specialization.
Okay.
Okay, so it basically just makes it a difficulty 1 then, right?
Yeah, and then with your effort, you can put it down to 0.
Yeah, okay, then I'll do that. So, because I'm figuring we need this guy's help more than much anything else right now.
Yeah, so with a little bit of focus and time and strain and, he kind of working, you have Captain Stiller just kind of talking me through it. Imagine almost like he's background noise to you at this point. His advice is
just yeah, that's the right wire. You're doing a great job.
In my head, as I'm working out, I'm just kind of going, dude, shut up. I know this stuff backwards and forwards. There is nothing you can say that will help in this situation. But I'm not going to talk back to a superior. So
Yeah.
I mean, not just due to a minor annoyance, at least.
Yeah. You're able to bring up kind of a virtual version of the circuitry onto some kind of projector, some cybernetic projector on your arm. You're able to manipulate the workings that way. And you kind of flick a few holographic switches, and you hear this vroom, the humming as power returns to this room at least. And lights start to line up the outer workings of doors. The humming and just sounds of computers kind of booting back up the static and sounds that, holographic computers would make. And yeah, these doors now have power to them and can be opened basically like normal.
Okay, I'm just going to pop the closet door open then and try and get this scientist out.
Yet immediately you're met with this sweaty, kind of balding man, his hair kind of in a comb over, holding this just half of a broomstick outwards at you guys. He's kind of pressed his back up against the closet containing bottles of certain chemicals and boxes of stuff. And there's, you can see the other half of the broom, with the brush end kind of just lying on the ground. As immediately as he sees the three of you, his pose just relaxes, and he just lets out a sigh of relief. Oh, it's you.
Dr. Wilson, pleasure to see you. I put my hand in his and I shake it and I go, all right, I think we have a planet to save now. Let's get going.
Yeah, and as he kind of just reaches out his hand to shake yours, you feel his clammy, sweating, cold hands on yours. They're shaking in fear and nervousness. But he kind of nods, pushes his glasses back up his nose. What's the plan here?
Well, we were hoping you could tell us what was wrong by taking us to the Research and Development Center, and then we'll guard you while you access the data and then figure out what we need to do.
Well, this is the Research and Development Center. He kind of looks around, looking at all the kind of broken hardware and clattered cabinets and a few computers that still hum to life.
I just look around and I go, do you see anything useful here, Dr. Wilson?
It looks like some of these computers are still operational. About the launch, looks like it was an inside job.
Of course
it's supposed to launch, but it didn't go through. Someone with a higher clearance than even I would somehow stop the launch from happening.
Well, get on those computers, tell us what we need to get the launch happening, and then let's do that.
He kind of walked past you guys, heading to one of these holographic terminals. Start, pressing these holographic keys in the air, tapping them with a speed that, you can't even imagine. Because some of you, I imagine everyone but Ward probably are computer illiterate. And you just see this, this frenzy of tapping of floating keys, and just strange symbols kind of pop up and whiz around and kind of flick through them. In the meantime, what are the three of you doing as you're observing this scientist whiz through this data terminal?
I'm guarding the door that's been blown open, checking to see if there's anybody out that door.
And as you look past that hallway, through that hallway, you see it's kind of longer than the one that you walked through, probably twice in length. But it also ends in a kind of a rusty, misshapen, salvaged, jury-rigged elevator, similar to the one that you took down here. But, it's not a copy, a replica, but similar design. But there's, again, no sign of movement.
Where did they go?
There's another door, not a secure maglock door, but just a normal kind of door halfway down that hallway. How about Ward?
Well, the fact that my arm's not working right is starting to bug me, and if we've got a minute, I'm gonna kind of shove a few things out of the way to open up some table space, and then pull over a stool so I can sit down and rest my arm. And I'll pull the couple of tools that I've got out of my. I've got probably a belt pouch that I carry that type of stuff in, and spend a couple of minutes trying to fix it. So presumably making a recovery roll.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
I have morale booster, which gives +1 to recovery rolls.
That is your pterodactyl.
Damn it.
Yeah, which is not present. So yeah, you just make a normal recovery roll. You burn off the first one, which only takes about an action.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want, you can do the 10-minute one as well here in this downtime. You make for yourself.
And because we're 2 with the D6 plus 2, right?
Sorry? Yeah, 1d6 plus 2. Yeah.
Okay, then I got a 4 in total.
Yeah. You can just allocate those back to the points that you want to. What is Captain Ben doing?
Captain Ben's gonna look like he's guarding one of the hallways, but I don't know exactly how time tap works, story-wise, but let's say that he's either going to access the time stream or whatever that is to answer the question, who could have done this job, this inside job. And time tap says ask a question, get a blurry vision, and it costs 2 points of intellect.
Yeah.
So I'm going to spend my time trying to figure out who did this.
And so all around this continent, this Appalachia area of prehistoric Earth, with the advent of time travel, rips in fabric and space-time have just kind of cropped up, kind of shaking the world, causing these weird anomaly storms to kind of just roll across the countryside, some inconsistencies in the landscape. And Captain Ben, you're somehow a little more in tune with these anomalies. And so as you kind of focus your eyes down this hallway, you see a little inconsistency in the wall itself. Perhaps, like a few inches where the wall is kind of slightly, faltered. And as you go up to it, you kind of close your eyes and you peer into this time anomaly. And your question is, who did this?
Yes.
You see... How about you, Aaron? You tell me who did this.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
This person is of a high rank in the SATI kind of hierarchy. Tell me who this is.
Captain Ben Stiller gets a flashback as this happens. It's his first day when he started out as a private. Richard was only as tall as his hip at the time, and he was in training. And he hears the commander of his battalion calling out. And it flashes back to this room, and it shows the commander ordering around different butterfly troops. And it's Commander Owen Steffen, who had trained me from a private to the point where I'm at now, and he had done this inside job. No idea why or what it could be, but I just see him ordering around butterflies.
As you kind of look, you have this flashback of this, Commander Owen training you, your private, and you, in this flashback moment, you look all around you, and you see the face of everyone else you trained with, their identities also being very clear to you in this vision. And I'm going to say that it could have been, the answer to this question you posed could have been any one of these, let's say 13 people, commander or
Okay.
any of the 12 ranks.
So anyone who's would assumedly now be the same rank or higher than I am from my original.
Yeah. Some of them kind of dropped out, died in action.
So knowing that now, I kind of just like shake my head in disbelief, and I kind of take a minute to take a breath and looking down the hall, making sure nobody's coming. But really, I'm just distracted, knowing that this is done by somebody I knew, possibly. And I'm gonna look over to the doc and I say, Doc, any progress?
And as the doc is about to speak, something catches your eye, Captain Ben. You're looking out, and this would also catch your eye, Europa. The R&D room on the one side that has no doors is just this full panel of glass window. It's on the ground floor of the courtyard. It has no access to it, but it's maybe like 4 or 5 feet thick glass. And in through the glass, you see charging at you guys this 50-foot tall super sword. Well, all you see is just these 2 tree trunk legs. They're stomping kind of around. They're swatting their tails in a wide arc, sending, SATI agents flying through the air in this, with bludgeon. Bullets kind of bounce off of it harmlessly. It seems that these butterflies have enhanced Tyrannosaurs into their ranks. And this stray tail comes crashing through this window into this room, shattering glass. And this kind of knocks Dr. Wilson, sending him off balance and causing his head to crack on the side of a counter. If you gain 1 experience point from this GM intrusion, as this tail just comes through and obliterates the window. Thankfully, it seems like the superstore that caused this did not. It has not noticed you guys in the room yet.
Okey-doke. I'm gonna go over to the doctor, try and give him some first aid.
How about Europa?
Muted.
So a superstore, but just see any butterflies around as well, or is it just the 2?
The courtyard is full of them in full-on, Legion combat, essentially, with these, armed SATI agents. Just gunfire and javelins being thrown, bows and arrows, sending volleys. It's just total warfare in the courtyard.
Is there a group of butterflies together that don't have SATI agents around them where I could chuck a grenade at?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'd like to throw a thermite grenade at that group.
All right, can you make a speed attack roll just to lob the grenade at them? It'll be a level 5 task, but you're acting out of surprise, so I probably lowered that by 1 to level 4. They are pretty far away, however, so that's why it's a level 4 task.
Okay, I'd like to spend a level of effort.
Cool, down to 3. Trying to beat a 9.
Oh, I rolled a 9.
So you just lob this grenade after pulling the pin. You throw it a little too far, just over their heads, but it lands kind of caressed by the dirt, the sand, the ash of this just blasted courtyard. It lands in the sand, and then boom, it explodes in this blast along with this dust cloud, obscuring a good portion of the area. in this explosion, catching the group of about 4 butterflies with its shrapnel and explosion. Captain Ben, you go over and you see the Dr. Wilson kind of just slumped up against the counter. You pull him over, caressing his head, seeing what the damage is, and you are relieved to see that there's no blood pooling from the back of his head. Thankfully, it didn't hit him too hard.
So he does not require any medical attention at the moment.
Sorry?
So he doesn't require any medical attention at the moment.
He's certainly not dead, is what I'm basically trying to say. Yeah.
Okay. If there's anything that I can do to make him able to continue what he was doing, because we need that data, then I'm gonna attempt to do that. If there's nothing that I can do for him, then I will be helping Europa and asking Warren if he can download whatever data the doctor was able to pull up.
Yeah, and so the doctor's shallow breaths still, unconscious, just merely a concussion, it seemed. You kind of try, kind of tapping him on the cheek to no effect. You don't have, maybe splash a bit of water on him, but again, no effect. You kind of just hold him there. He seems to be out, at least for the moment. Okay.
In that case, I'm gonna toss a couple more grenades to Europa. I'm basically gonna slide my belt over there and say, "Here's a couple more." And say, "Warren, can you get any of the data the doctor got up for us down and to the point where we can get moving with it?"
I'll immediately give that a shot. I'll scramble over to the computer.
So the screwdriver's still in your arm. You kind of just pull it off and, scramble over. And in the terminal, it's a little kind of fuzzy because part of the projector is a little bit cracked. So there's kind of a missing gap in the hologram. But you're able to see pretty clearly, information such as like the launch code required, kind of the commands you need to enter to reboot the rocket system. But you do notice that this terminal has lost connection with the rest of the facility, essentially, as you realize that perhaps in this big tail sweep, it also severed a few cables and such to transmit the data.
So just to make sure I'm understanding, it looks as though we're at a point where we could attempt to reboot the launch, but we need a command code to do so.
Well, you have the command code, but
we need a terminal that's connected to the rocket.
We need to find a terminal.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one is I mentioned this error message kind of popping up, like error, lost connection. But the screen is frozen with the required info.
Okay. Well, I will grab something and write it down as quick as I can, just so we don't lose track of what that code is in case we have to go somewhere else with it. But then I'm going to look around. Does it look like there's any other terminals in this room that are still functional enough?
The answer would be no. This is the only one that was able to, that this one got powered on successfully in the reboot of the power and was accessed. The other ones seem to be in big disrepair.
Then do I know the facility well enough? We're in the more tech-oriented sections of it, and I'd imagine that's where I would be spending my time if I was spending it in any of the facility itself. Do I have any idea where we might be able to find a terminal that would be usable?
You do know, in fact, that in the courtyard itself, there is a little bunker set up for direct access to the computers controlling the mechanism of the missile. That's a really easy, that's probably going to work. The issue with that is there's a battleground going on. Other than that, the systems and connections are set up in such a way that everything's kind of distinct from one another, so that
So that's probably our best bet.
Yeah, there was a kind of a movement in the past a few months ago to disconnect all of the systems because of immense amount of butterfly sabotage from workers, from butterfly disguised as workers, hacking into their certain systems and getting access to information they shouldn't get. So in a security measure, they kind of quarantined off certain areas and rooms to inhibit that.
Okay, well then I guess I'm gonna move over to where the other two are and look out the window. Can I see the bunker from where we are?
Yeah, you can totally see it. It's like this cement dome supported by this shatterproof circle of glass. It's kind of, if you imagine like a sphere kind of just embedded into the ground, that's kind of what it would look like.
And presumably it's on the opposite side of the courtyard from...
Yeah, it's about like 300 feet away from where you're standing.
Okay, I'll kind of point to it over the edge of the window, the busted windowsill, and be like, okay, we got to get there with this code.
Is there like an underground, like you said, this is like that shatterproof glass dome kind of thing. So is the access underground then? Below ground, on that other side?
I don't think that Europa would be very well versed in, would actually know what the layout is of that bunker.
That being said, I could fly over to it. I just need to call Richard. How many stories did we go down?
About one story. Like
only one story?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I'm going to give a hearty whistle. That Richard would know is mine, if you would allow that, to get him to come my way.
And I would like you to make an animal handling check for your companion.
Okay.
The target number is 3. Sorry, the task level is 3.
Okay, so
9 or higher.
9.
I think you might have some training in that regard, though. I'm not sure.
I have natural charisma, discerning disposition, pleasant social interaction, and gullible. Those are all my skills.
Never mind. Yeah. So yeah, just a 9 or better.
I got a 12.
Nice. Yeah. So your whistle is loud enough for Richard to hear it.
Richard kind of like cocks his head and looks over to Hephaestus, and in whatever language that dinosaurs speak says, "I think they're calling us." I don't know if the dinosaurs talk to each other in this one. But he's going to launch off and make his way towards Ben.
And immediately, Richard the pterosaur just swoops down, the underbelly and his under wings glittering with prismatic colors as he does so. He's a very flashy pterosaur. He kind of lands, attracting a bunch of attention as he does so from both sides of the battlegrounds. I imagine you'd see a few squads of armored Sadi ancients with their Nautilus insignia and these butterfly tribal warriors, these terrorists, also kind of like on either side of the battlefield, kind of looking up and looking over for a few moments at least at this pterosaur.
I'm going to look over to Warren and say, "Do you have the code memorized?"
Do I? Is that something I need to worry about making a roll for?
I feel like what you did is you kind of like, scanned it, like did a visual scan and like have a kind of an image storage on your computer body.
Okay. Then yeah.
All right. I'm going to go up there. I'm going to try and get there myself. I'm going to distract them. You guys can circle around, try the other way. Do your best to get there because we need that thing launched. And I'm going to hop on the back of Richard and I'm going to go encourage and bedazzle the two sides as I try to go over to the launch pad or the launch terminal.
Yeah, and I imagine just Richard flying around this missile in the middle of the combat, just 40 or so feet in the air, circling around. You yelling out in some kind of speakerphone style, maybe enhancement, maybe like a voice module. You kind of press it and your voice gets louder. You just kind of bolster the SADI agents while also giving a heat of warning to the butterflies. They kind of you kind of hear a rallying cry on the SADI side.
While I'm flying over, can I drop a grenade?
Oh, totally. You could probably do so. Yeah.
Okie doke. What's the roll for that?
I'd say it'd be about a level 3 task.
Level 3?
Yeah.
That's a 20.
So you critted, which means that you get to, within reason, dramatically alter the flow of the scenario with this grenade.
Okay.
Where did this grenade land?
So as
to have such devastating effect.
As Richard is displaying his vibrant underside, the butterfly agents are just distracted for the moment as they see this little apple-shaped object just fall from the heavens, and it falls right in the center of them, weakening their front line and their sides. And when this happens, the SADI agents, being emboldened, push through that center line, dividing the butterfly agents from each other, breaking their support lines.
Yeah, awesome. You just take down these pivotal, squad members in the formation, and immediately they start to lose ground dramatically through the suppressive fire of the rallied forces of the SADI agents under your banner, so to speak. In the meantime, what are Ward, Shadow, and Europa doing as Captain Ben just flies off on Richard, the pterosaur?
Does Ward know how to get to that bunker?
Other than praying a bit and running like hell, that's about the extent of his plan at the moment.
But we don't, from what we can see though, does it even look like there's an entrance on the courtyard level?
In the glare of the sunlight, I would like you to make an intellect task to kind of see if you can see something.
Either of us?
Yeah, both of you. Yeah.
I got a
You can use your
13.
training and perception to help out if you have it.
Yeah, I have training and perception. I'm rolling like poop though. I rolled a 6.
Does my encouragement help them as well?
I would, yes, I'd totally roll that, yes.
Is that enough?
Well, it depends on what Ward got.
I got a 13, I said.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry, I didn't catch it. So, yes,
Yeah, you're fine.
You kind of point out, Ward, there's something glittering, something glinting in the sunlight. You see this, kind of really stark reflection. And as you pointed out, Europa, you're able to kind of identify like this pseudo, door shape, for lack of better words, in one of the sides of the or in the side of this bunker, the spherical bunker.
Okay, so we can get to it from this level.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can be stealthy and try to sneak around over there, but how about you, Ward?
No, that is not in my wheelhouse. Like I said, I'm going to be saying many silent prayers and just hoping I can get through relatively unscathed.
Well, I mean, our forces are pushing up at this point. If there was ever a time to book it, it would be now.
Basically, I'll tell him, you go and I'll cover you. And Shadow and I can protect you as we book it across. Maybe behind our own lines towards the bunker.
Then that is exactly what I'm going to do. Ward will kind of close his eyes for a split second and say a very quick prayer to the machine god, and then leap out the window and start working his way across. I'm just going to try and avoid any groups of fighting in the hopes that the butterflies are distracted enough that they won't worry about one or two individual people that aren't actively trying to get involved in things.
Yeah, awesome. I would like you to make a speed task. Just as you sprint, as you kind of catch your landing, as you jump out this shattered window.
Yeah, I got a 3.
So you don't get much distance. You, for some reason, your boots are having a hard time getting good traction in this dust and sand. Like you find yourself sinking quite a bit in kind of your heavy, half metallic form. So your hope for sprinting and running for dear life, you're not nearly as fast as you thought you would be. Okay. How about Europa and Shadow? What is Europa gonna do?
Well, Europa's gonna, jump out the window as well, because she's covering Ward, and hopefully she'll do a little better. But I rolled an 8.
Yeah. And so how about what do you call him? Shadow. Just falling behind.
Yeah. He's. I mean, at this point, we're just trying to sneak our way across, right? So.
Yeah, he can make a roll as well.
I got a 13 for Shadow.
Yeah. So both of you, Europa and Shadow, you're able to get your footing much better in this dusty, sandy, obliterated landscape of this smaller courtyard. As you kind of cover Ward, you got your weapons up and ready.
Yeah.
As you just trek across towards this the dome of the bunker. However, this huge shadow, this huge form blocks out the sun, casting a huge shadow over to one of your sides. Squinting, in the dim light, you look up and you can see the side profile of the super soar, between 60 and 100 feet tall. It's just its tail sweeping, obliterating the foundation of the edge of the courtyard. Its ginormous feet stomping on troops of Sadi agents as they kind of flee, dispersing from it. It lets out this roar or rah, or whatever dinosaur sounds makes. It makes a big loud bellow that just, in its huge form, just shakes the earth. And its tail just makes another big wide lash. And I'd like the three of you to make a speed defense roll, please. As this tail kind of just gets in your way.
The three, me being one of the three?
No, sorry, I'm meaning Shadow, Ward, and Europa.
Okie doke.
I rolled a 14.
I also rolled a 14. Shadow rolled a 6.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so Shadow is the only one that doesn't make it.
No!
And is just swept 50 feet as it's just pummeled by this tail and launched into the air. It's thrown and landing in the sand far from you guys.
Before he gets completely trashed, can I make a roll to try and save him, please?
I mean, you are pretty high up, so it would be an incredibly difficult speed check. I'd say about a level 7 speed check to be able to swoop down in time to...
It's 21, right?
Yeah, rolling a 21 on a 20-sided die.
Okay, so I'm going to use 2 effort. So that does 6 speed damage, right?
Yeah.
So
15 or higher.
Oh, boy. Well, my luck had to run out at some point. I got a 1.
Oh no.
So not only do as you try to save and break the fall of Shadow being launched in the sky, you tell your raptor or your pterosaur to kind of fold in its wings to just dive, careening towards the earth as fast as it can. It does so, but it doesn't catch itself from its wings to stop it from just cratering into the sand below. And both your pterosaur and you, take 4 points of damage as you just crunch into the ground and you're launched off of your pterosaur companion. In the meantime, Shadow is flung across, a wide arc by this sweep of this tail, and he takes 4 points of damage as well.
Okay, so
Poor Shadow.
4 points of damage would be taken from might or speed, or
Might.
Okay. Oh boy.
And how is Shadow faring at this point?
Shadow's sitting at half health.
Okay, so Shadow's able to limp and get up, essentially. Not completely just obliterated by this.
Poor little raptor.
But, yeah. How about what do Ward and Europa do as they kind of duck just in time to not get swept up by this massive tail?
So did it seem like this was an intentional swipe at the group of us, or was it just we happened to be the ones in the way?
You totally were just collateral damage.
Okay,
it's
that's
just thrashing
kinda what I
its
was
tail
thinking.
back and forth.
Oh,
I guess I'm just going to try and grab Europa and see if we can't put on an extra burst of speed.
yeah,
Get the hell
let's
outta here.
get to the bunker.
Cool. Yeah, so it's a level 2 speed task to swiftly move across this loose footing, this loose ground. But if you're helping each other out, you can both reduce it down to level 1. So just getting a 3 or higher on a speed roll.
I'm also trained in all movement tasks.
Yeah, so you can easily glide across this. with
And
no
I got a
problem.
15 that time.
Yeah, so you're able to, helping each other up when you stumble, make really good progress towards the bunker. You've closed about half the distance now. You can see it within you, about between 50 and 100 feet away from you. There's just this battle going on just all around you. But then the skirmish kind of envelops the bunker. Both sides just completely kind of swarm around it in this gunfire as they kind of duck from out of behind the bunker's cover on the outside and kind of duck behind it, and then javelins are lobbed back and forth here and there. How about Captain Ben and Richard the Pterosaur as they've just cratered into the sand?
Not doing so hot. Ben shakes his head and says, "Gotta calm down on the heroics." Okay. And he pulls himself up and he goes over to Shadow and checks him up and he goes, "Okay, you're good too." And he hops back on Richard and he's like, "Sorry, buddy." And he looks at Shadow and he goes, "We'll give you some cover. Go catch up with him." And we're going to try and do our best to distract the super swords by I suppose Look at Me could distract them. Would Enthrall work in this situation?
Enthrall only works if the subject can actually understand what you're saying.
Only Richard could enthrall. In that case, Richard is going to use Look at Me at the super swords while I attempt to blast them with my crossbow in very vital areas, assumedly the eyes.
These super swords are towering height, colossal. They could probably step over the facility in a stride. If they can't, they'll just walk through it. They're massive. They're Godzilla sized.
Yes.
Your pterosaur kind of reels back, glinting its reflective scales on its underbelly kind of trying to catch the light in the Supersor's eye, and you can see this robotic, Terminator-style eye in one of its sockets just kind of whiz around, zoom in, and kind of focus on this flying pterosaur. And you kind of, in this flapping motion of your pterosaur, you try to aim your laser crossbow at the the Supersaur, sorry. And I'll need you to make an attack roll. The Supersaur is a level 9 creature.
Poop.
So needing a 27 or higher to inflict harm upon it.
I can't make that possible to harm it. Let's see. Yeah, I have nothing that would even remotely allow that to do anything. Really, I'm just trying.
Of effort, bring it down to 7.
Yeah, really, I'm just trying to annoy it. Could I roll something that is not offensive but distractive? I'm trying to lead them away from this area.
I could totally allow you to shoot your crossbow, perhaps not to harm, but just to catch its attention. Doing that, I'll say, is probably a level 6 task.
I can deal with that. I'll put in 2 points of... wait. Is it when I put in effort for this, would it be applicable to anything?
Sorry, I don't quite understand the question.
If I put in 2 points of effort, would I be able to take it away from my intellect?
I mean, it's depending on how you're distracting. I guess, I would say it's more of like a speed task to aim at some part that would distract it. Like, I'm imagining you shooting it somewhere where it's kind of sensitive.
Okay. Then I'm just going to put in 1 point of effort because I do not have enough speed to keep myself lively.
So, trying to get a 15 or higher.
Okie doke. I'll make that a 4. Boop. Awesome. I got 16.
Nice. So you're able to the laser kind of dissipates as it reaches the Supersaur. It fades, but it still kind of glows. You're able to aim it right in the eye, and it kind of just, you can see the iris of this red glowing eye kind of distort a little bit from this laser blast. It didn't seem to harm it as it reforms, but it definitely swivels its head and looks directly at the both of you and just lets out another one of those earth bellowing roars as you've gathered its attention.
Begin evasive maneuvers.
In the meantime, if you were to look up into the sky, you'd be able to see the ring, the details of this asteroid in much clearer detail. You can see the billows of flame, of hot air just erupting from all sides of it as it approaches. It's just this huge body in the sky at this point. It's less than an hour away from impact. The two of you on the ground, Ward and Europa, you're trudging through the sand, but you're halted essentially by this war, this complete skirmish that has kind of erupted in front of you almost out of nowhere, as these sides have tried to gain new ground as they kind of hop back in front and out of this bunker as cover. What is Shadow doing as he kind of just shakes himself off from this, just getting wrecked?
How far away from us is Shadow now?
Oh, probably at least 80 feet. He just got knocked completely on the other side.
In the wrong direction?
Yeah.
Then yeah, Shadow's just going to be kind of dogged about this and try to get back to us as best he can.
Yeah, so he can full on sprint. I'd say that's level 2 speed task.
He's also got sneaking ability, so he could sneak around if he's trying to.
It's very much out in the open though. This courtyard, not much to sneak behind.
Okay.
Well, I got a 6.
Yeah, so you're able to. I mean, this creature is swift, this raptor. So with these big gliding strides, it just goes into a full-on sprint. It's its back straightening out, and just these fast steps, just sprinting towards back to the two of you. But now we go to the two of you. This fight has broken out. If you were to take a few more strides, you might even be caught in the crossfire. It's that imminent. What do you want to do?
And this is a group of both SATI agents and Butterfly?
Yeah. You can see them probably about 50 yards off. Javelin hurling, grenade throwing, butterflies, and automatic weapon and laser toting SATI agents.
And there's no way to the door but through them.
I mean, you could try to go around. It seems like the thing you spotted out as a door earlier is on the SATI sides of things.
I mean, that helps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for my part, I'm going to keep trying to move in that direction. See if we can't get ourselves kind of toward the back of the SATI forces and work our way around that way. I mean, not to use the rest of the SATI agents as human shields, but kind of to use the rest of the SATI agents as human shields.
I mean, it's either they die or the world dies. Not really an option here.
Yeah, I figure this is important enough that somebody else getting hit for a arrow or bolt that should be headed for me is a small price to pay.
And as you kind of steer your direction off to kind of curd around the side towards the SATI agents, a volley of arrows by about 20 marksmen get launched up into the air and land in the general area of everyone around you guys. I would like the both of you to make a speed defense rolls, please.
I got a 16.
17.
Nice. So arrows kind of fly around you, embedding themselves in some of the SATI agents, but you're a little too far off to even get hit by this cloud of arrows in the sky. But yeah, you're able to skirt your way around the skirmish here, along the backside of the SATI agents, and immediately, with a little bit of concern, a few of them kind of raise their automatic weapons to you as you approach, maybe 30 feet away. And they kind of train their weapons about to shoot, and then they see the Nautilus symbol that's somewhere on your uniform or on your clothing or on your armor, and immediately kind of lower their weapons and then kind of spin around, kind of leap off of something and hide behind some kind of cover, maybe a shrub or something, and shoot continually at the butterflies that have started to press in. Some of them are riding on smaller raptors with big long lance-like spears, kind of just charging into the fray in the formation of the SATI agent and kind of impaling them and knocking them aside.
Do any of these raptors have augmentations like the Supersaur does?
Some of them do, and some of them don't, and some of them look like they once had them, but they've been kind of crudely / surgically removed and have scar tissue around them, where in frayed core wires exposed.
Can I pick out 2 of these raptor mounts that do have cybernetics? I want to try to use crossed wires to help the SATI agents.
That'd be amazingly awesome, and I would let you do that, yeah.
So I have to spend intellect points, and I can render up to 2 creatures. Basically, I can somehow, through that distance, interface with it. My cybernetics are capable of communicating wirelessly, and I can mess with their components enough that it effectively immobilizes them for a single round.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this would be considered an attack roll since you're kind of harming them.
Okay.
It's an intellect-based attack roll. These raptors are level 4 creatures.
Okay, I'm going to use...
But I totally let the broadcast hit both of them.
Right, I'm going to use an extra point of intellect for effort.
Cool. Yeah. So trying to beat a 9.
And I got an 11.
Yay.
Nice. So with this broadcast, you kind of have kind of a spam, like a jammer. You emit some kind of jammer signal, and immediately the set of servos that are augmenting their legs and their limbs and some of their muscles in the body kind of lock up and jam a bit as you have an override signal. And they kind of, in this halting motion, and they're spasming, they kind of knock their riders off.
Nice.
And they immediately get gunned down by the just the loud, thunderous, automatic weapons. How about Europa?
I might as well shoot a crossbow at one of the butterfly agents. Just try to help out with the fray while trying to get Ward to the door.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, this there's one of these butterfly agents that's kind of seen you skirt on the outsides and throws a javelin, or is about to throw a javelin at one of you. So I think that you pick it out, noticing its attention on you, and you raise your crossbow up and try to fire. It's a level 5 creature, so
Okay.
15 or higher.
Nope.
Yeah. So in this distance, there's probably a few SATI agents in the way. You're trying to get a clear shot, but I feel like you try to aim over the shoulder of another SATI soldier, but it's not a really clear shot, so it lands, harming no one. In the meantime, Captain Ben atop Richard, there's this massive Godzilla-sized super sore charging at the two of you. It's with 3 or 4 great big strides, boom, boom, boom. It closes the distance and takes a huge kind of bite at the two of you with its just massive cavernous maw. I'd like you to make a speed defense roll, please. Your pterosaur.
Difficulty?
Difficulty. I want to make it reasonable, so difficulty 6 here.
Okay. He's trained in flying, gliding, and diving. Does it do anything?
Absolutely, yeah. So you can lower it down to a 5.
Okay. Can I encourage him? What is happening?
I would let you encourage him if you're able to succeed on like a dinosaur handling check here to communicate your ideas. So it's be an intellect task of difficulty 3.
I would definitely can do that, and I'm gonna put some effort to it. 2 points of it, in fact, because I have all of the intellect. Let's see, 6 points. It's 13. And I succeeded on that, so now the other one's a difficulty of level 4, so it's a 12. And I succeeded, rolling a 14.
Nice. So as the super sword just chomps down, you kind of just feel the spray of saliva spray across your face as its lips and teeth close within inches of you on your pterosaur.
You're doing great, Richard. You're doing great. Just keep stick and move, buddy.
What would you like to do as you're right up in this super sour's face?
While it chomped down, I assume that in anger or frustration, it's going to roar at me. While its mouth is open, could I toss in a grenade? Because I want to give him a spicy meatball.
That is so awesome that I'll let you do it, yes.
Nice.
Yes! Difficulty.
I'd say difficulty 4. It's right in there.
Okay.
Like, it's pretty point blank, but the timing and just the fear of the situation could maybe, hold you back here.
If you agree that it will do double damage, I will take that and make it a level 5. Okay. 19!
You got a 19?
Yeah.
So you toss in this grenade to the maw of this superstar as it just lets out another bellow at you. You feel the gust of air kind of just sweep along your hair and kind of push back your pterosaur, Richard. But you're able to lob the grenade just in time in that split moment that you have available to you. And it kind of bounces harmlessly between like the metal kind of saw blade teeth it has that are whirring, like a saw or a chainsaw back and forth. But kind of just bounces, sparking and clattering against the metal, and then it explodes. Boom! This explosion erupts from its nostrils. One of its eyes kind of just bursts out from its socket, dangling by this, metal cord. One of its cybernetic eyes, kind of hanging there a little bit. It's kind of whirring around, trying to gain some kind of composure. It's kind of like it's staggered back a little bit. It's it retracts on its two legs and kind of shakes its head back and forth in pain, and just lets in another "Rah!" dinosaur yell. I do the best dinosaur yells. But it is still very much still alive. It's just enraged and angered at this point.
Oh well, shit.
Europa and Ward.
I did my best.
What are the two of you gonna do?
I'm just gonna keep booking for the door at this point.
Yeah, and I'm covering him, shooting a crossbow as I go.
I would like you both to make a speed defense roll, please, as a Saudi agent jumps out in the front of you and starts kind of firing across to these butterfly agents, and you just happen to be in the way at this moment in time. So it'd be a difficulty 3.
Yeah, I rolled a 3. So I jump in the way so Ward can get through.
I managed an 11.
Yeah.
So, Europa, you get caught by just this spray of bullets, just by sheer accident. You both you're just caught in the crossfire, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. You take 5 points of damage as just this spray of bullets gets your side. Tuk, 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 tuk. But however, Ward, you're able to kind of close the last distance. You can just see the sheer steel paneling of this door just slightly outside of reach at this point. You've closed the distance to it. Europa, you're a little far behind. You've been staggered by this just pelleting of bullets by sheer accident. How about Shadow? He's just going to continue closing the distance.
Yeah,
catch up.
yeah. Shadow's gonna just keep trying to catch up to us.
Yeah, it's another just difficulty 2 speed roll.
8.
Yeah, so he essentially catches up with Europa, probably about 15, 20 feet behind her. So you're all pretty similarly distanced.
Okay.
Europa, what is she going to do as she's just been hit in the side by this mist of bullets?
And Ward is at the door now?
Yes. Okay. Ward is essentially at the door now.
Okay, she's going to basically hold off anybody that's coming their direction so that he has a chance to get inside. So if there's a butterfly agent in front of me, I'll crossbow bolt him.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, one of these butterfly agents, springs out from behind cover and immediately kind of realizes you're kind of like right there.
All right.
So again, a difficulty 5 to hit.
I rolled a 13.
Yeah, so you were kind of caught by surprise too. You weren't quite able to bring up your crossbow in time to catch it, this butterfly. But this butterfly also was caught by surprise by you, and immediately, kind of retracts and kind of retreats a bit back behind cover, seeing that it's his attempted plan at getting through didn't really work as there's someone right there. And Aaron had to go for a quick pee. So we'll return to Ward. You're right there. You can see this door to the bunker just right there. What would you like to do?
I'm just going to get there as quickly as I can, kind of slam my hand into the control panel to get the door to open up.
Yeah. You see how this one is much more secured in many different mechanisms. And in this tension of this moment, it's going to be a level 4 task.
Okay, well, I am not leaving anything to chance, so I'm putting... It's intellect, I assume?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm putting 2 levels of effort into it. Got an 18.
Nice. So, yeah, you just maybe even kind of overload the mechanism with a bit of power along with your hacking, software that you have. You are able to hack the code or whatever the clearance may be for this bunker, and just zoop, the metal door kind of slides open, revealing a pristine, kind of undamaged, almost unused interior. It's got this leather, chairs and like some doors, not some doors, some chairs, and a big kind of control chair and a bunch of panels and a big kind of view through the glass of the rocket in the center of the courtyard. We're going to return to Aaron if he's back.
I am back. Sorry about that.
All right, so you have just launched a grenade into the Supersaur's mouth, but it tries to chomp back at you in retaliation. Just his cybernetic eye kind of dangling by its wires out of the socket. You can see the eye kind of close in with its muscles just to protect itself.
Is
the socket.
It easier to dodge now that it can no longer see as well?
Yes, exactly. So I made it. What did I make to dodge? It was a 6 last time.
Yeah.
So it'll be a level 5 to dodge this time.
Oh, okay. That's good. Except I only got a 14. I could expend an effort on it though. But I don't have enough points.
So you're caught in these saw blade teeth that whiz, kind of in this tractor line around the roof of his mouth and down to the bottom of the mouth, and just this continuous motion of just saw blade teeth as it just chomps down and rips, shredding through the flesh of your pterosaur Richard, dealing 10 points of damage to him.
Oh.
That sounds really bad.
As it just saws through flesh and bone, like as if it were butter. And blood spraying everywhere in these saw blade teeth.
So is Zero dead?
Yes.
No.
So I'm falling like 100 feet now, right?
Yes, you are falling approximately 100 feet, yeah.
The symbol of SETI has fallen. I am going to try and toss my grappling hook to stop me from dying.
All right, I would like you to make a level 5 speed task, please. To whiz your grappling hook up mid-fall.
I made this one! No! Richard!
What did you get?
I got a 15.
Nice. So your grappling hook catches on one of the one of the metal plate scales it has. Just hooks. Chink! The metal sparks, it just hooks into it. And you just feel the tug on your arms as your arms kind of pull out of the shoulder a bit as you catch your fall, dangling by this, synthetic cord rope of your grappling hook as you dangle, 20 feet down off of this Supersaur.
So just to be completely open and honest. Richard's at -6.
Yeah, Richard is basically chum at this point. I imagine that like as the saw teeth cut through, the super sword just like throws him up in the air and just like opens his mouth up and just swallows Richard in just one big gulp afterwards.
Captain Stiller, after the initial shock of him falling is over and he's saved himself, he's just gonna slump down to the ground.
I mean, you're still dangling like 60 feet in the air.
Oh, well, I'm just gonna slide down then.
Yeah, so you're hanging by the edge of your grappling hook where the rope ends, and you're still you're kind of 60 feet off the edge of the ground.
Actually, after he's like depressed for 10 seconds, he gets really pissed off. He's gonna climb up the rope. What's it connected to exactly?
It's connected to some part of like the scales essentially of the super sword. The scales are so massive. There's like the little crevices and cracks in between them. The grappling hook, caught one of those.
He's gonna take his whole belt, which there's 3 grenades left on his belt, and he's gonna toss it in the super sword's mouth.
Yeah, so you're dangling pretty far down. The mouth is not really in a convenient location for you to toss.
Can I take a movement action and then?
Yeah, you can totally try to, but it's still going to be a difficult throw. Your arms they've kind of been pulled out of their sockets.
It
would be a level 5 speed task to throw this belt.
A level 5 speed task?
Yeah.
Okie doke. I'm going to use the very last of my speed then in effort. And bring it down to 4. I only have a total of 1 speed left. I didn't think he was gonna die, but I feel like this is more dramatic. Let's see. I don't have anything else that can make this any better. So that's 3 grenades, and it is a 15. They all get in there.
Nice. So I imagine that one of them kind of catches this on this belt. One of them kind of catches the side of its mouth. The other 2 dangle outside. And just in this, sequence of explosions, boom, 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 down the belt, the whole side of its face gets blasted. And the skin gets just shredded off, burnt off, revealing this just steel alloy skeleton underneath this jaw, just made of pure metal. The flesh has been just burnt away.
As this is happening, Ben Stiller just flips him off and goes, "That was for Richard, you son of a bitch!"
In the meantime, Europa, Shadow has caught up with Europa. She's kind of limping, clutching, the bloodied side that just got impaled by bullets. Your companion Ward has gained access to the bunker. What is Europa going to do?
Y'all better launch this rocket.
Europa is going to do Overwatch. Basically, I'm going to shoot my crossbow at the next viable target that pops up. But I'm basically like standing in front of the door, letting Ward get in and do what he needs to do, and I'm just waiting till the next person comes in, and I'm going to shoot them. So I'll use Overwatch.
Nice. Yeah. So you kind of steady your breath, bring your crossbow up, you train yourself.
Yeah. And
just calm yourself, and you just hone your reflexes to an edge, waiting to pull the trigger at the next thing that just jumps out at you.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Ward, the staircases descend down into this bunker. What are you going to do?
I'm moving down the stairs as quickly as I can. I need to find a terminal.
Yeah, and there's totally a huge terminal, buttons and panels and shit available.
As soon as I find one, I'm going to see if I can't figure out how I got to plug in the command code.
Yeah, and so immediately after a few seconds of this boot up of the system, as it comes back to life, the power seems to be still intact at this point. you notice that it kind of gives you a prompt of enter launch code here.
So I'll pull that image that I took up, like in my UI, basically, in my, through my cybernetic eye, and copy it down onto the terminal.
And as you do so, other prompts basically pop up after you enter this code. That one kind of gives a little green light, dink, and like a bunch of other kind of basically trivia things pop up. And you have the information copied down on your little visual snippet. And you copy the commands of code required. Maybe very fast, and it's pressed for time. You kind of glance over your shoulder a few times, seeing you see Europa kind of like pew pew with a few crossbow bolts at a few butterflies that kind of have jumped out into try to get down in the bunker. And then you hear launch in 10, 9, 8, as the combustion of the rocket boots back up. It's at half fuel capacity here. It's just shaking the earth at this point. This gust of flame washes over the battleground, this courtyard, swathing butterfly agent, Sati soldier, Europa, Shadow, everyone in just this bathe of flame as this rocket just expels its, whatever that's called, exhaust. 6, 5, 4, it continues to count down. 3, 2, 1. And then the hands separate, holding the rocket in place. And the missile just starts careening up into the sky. Congratulations. You've succeeded. As
But at what cost?
the missile flies further into the sky, becoming smaller and smaller as this trail of steam and vapor rises into the sky. It impacts with the asteroid, and in this big flash of lights, white light, and then followed a few moments after by just this huge thunderclap, like 1,000 lightning strikes. It detonates in just nuclear explosion style, this mushroom cloud in 3 directions or whatever, Death Star style, just boom, explodes. The asteroid explodes and just bathes the Earth in this white light. And it's followed by just this rain of pellets of rock and rubble. The smallest pieces are probably the size of cars or vehicles or buses, just coming down as massive hailstones would, and just smashing, destroying trees and buildings and the facility and the landscape around it. But it's nothing compared to what the Cretaceous Tertiary extinction event would have been. And as this happens, more irregularities and inconsistencies in the fabric of space-time start popping up. Reality seems to have to rewrite itself as Ward Rose, Europa, and Captain Stiller have literally rewritten history. Who knows what happens 66 millions of this Earth's future? But it's certainly not what we have today.